I think we'll go ahead and get started. It's a quiet room this morning. I don't know if everybody's still celebrating the new year or if it's just the hearty faithful this morning. So this morning we're going to view a TED Talk that was done a few years ago in Columbia, Missouri. And the topic was how to unleash employee motivation, which I thought would be a great topic to start the new year. We got through. Alan, how'd you survive last week?
We did well. We weren't here too late on Friday. So it was a very, very busy week, but we got through it. Yeah,
and I was surprised you guys were kind of wrapping up fairly early for the last day of the year, which was good. Again, we're going to kind of do this TED Talk, and I thought it might be helpful for all of us to kind of start the new year and what we can do to kind of unleash that motivation in our employees, because our employees have that motivation. We just need to help unleash that. So, Annalise, if you want to start the video, that'd be great. Okay. So, what came out of the TED Talk that was surprising to you? Was it surprising to you that we can't motivate our employees? Yes, Alan.
I think that not too often, all the time, we have in our mind, I'm going to motivate my employee by what motivates me. And that's the simple solution, but that doesn't necessarily work. And it says some people are motivated by I can expand sales. And others are motivated by protecting what they have. So that was very interesting perspective.
It was kind of interesting because we all kind of go at it from what our experiences are versus what their experience may be. And she talked a lot about employee, employer, but really that's also team member to team member, coworker to coworker. It's not always just employer, employee. As a team, and we saw this a lot over the weekend with so much football being played, especially yesterday. I mean, both semifinal games came down to the very last play, and it wasn't the coach necessarily yelling out the play. It was the team members on the field that worked together to communicate that, and they came together to execute or failure to execute in some cases. So it really is team member to team member. So what do you think is going to be the path moving forward? We're into a new year. There's always kind of that breath of fresh air. We're going to start over fresh. She talked a little bit about hiring. Many of the offices are short-staffed. It's hard to hire. It's hard to find personnel. How did that resonate with you as far as, bringing on new team members? Did that make sense as far as, looking for motivation factors when you're interviewing?
Well, I don't know about motivation, but what I'm looking for is I start with a job description. If it's accurate, it needs to be accurate of what the job actually entails. And then I'm looking for matches. When we're talking to individuals, we're asking questions that would indicate whether or not they can do what the requirements of the job are. And you're doing the very best you can to match up what it is that needs to be done with the abilities of the individual. Now, measuring whether they're going to do it or not when they get there, that is really hard. Really hard, if not impossible. So you're not going to always be right.
Yeah.
So you're going to have some failure in the process.
Sure.
But She talked a lot about people doing it based on liking individuals.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that over the course of my careers. There's been very little, relatively little of what I just described, and a whole lot of, yeah, I like that individual.
Mhm.
I feel good
Mhm.
about that individual. I think that's what she's talking about. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
Yeah, the folks that they liked the best were the least performers or the lower
That
performers.
was kind of surprising to be the lowest performers, but that was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So, it kind of changes your outlook, not only for those that hire, but once someone is hired, how, as a team member, you approach them. It's not necessarily about who you like, who can get the job done, who's motivated to do the work, those kinds of things. And
Maybe it speaks to us doing a better job of listening, and it works. So what if I'm not comfortable with this individual because they're different?
Mhm.
Recognize it and start listening to them just as carefully as you would to someone who matches up better with you, at least as far as you like. Listen to everybody.
That's a very key point. I'm glad you raised that, Brian, because nothing could be more powerful than actually listening. And so that is very key. All right. Any other feedback on what we heard today? All right. We'll wrap it up and we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Here.